This is 4. I changed my mind.
Okay.
So come on up here a little closer. Once we get started, we're going to go as fast as we can, but I want to explain things. Explain what we're doing. We have a scorekeeper over here. We have a evaluator over here, a couple down here. I went into this pen of bulls this morning, and there's 3 bulls that I thought were the best, and these are them. And the reason I'm looking for the best bull is that if I start out with an average bull and he's scoring too high, what am I going to do when I see him? You know, if I've already got some 5s and they don't look that good, then we got to start all over. So that bull has got a lot of things I really like. One thing I don't like. We always start with masculinity, and masculinity is going to be the head and the neck. We like a bull, short, wide bull head. We like a wide neck that's almost as wide or wider than the head. We like that prominent crest on top. We like to let them stop and put their head up just like that. That may be the most masculine bull here. Is that right? Okay, that's what slipped my mind. That's why it slipped my mind. So I'm going to go 5 plus. 5 is best. When we have something that's outstanding, we're going to plus it. So I'm going to go 5 plus on the masculinity. You'll see a lot of bulls that are only 4 today, and you know they just don't. They're not that developed yet. Next thing we're doing is thickness. Thickness to me is I want to see a wide, flat back, not a sharp back. I want to see a lot of spring of rib. I want to see a lot of depth. So it's depth, volume, flat back. Has nothing to do with muscle. We're not looking at muscle yet. So I'm going to look over his top. You know, you can set a dinner plate on top of him and not, it won't fall off. He does have guts. You see how it's sticking out around his butt. Some of these bulls are going to be pretty slash-sided. So I'm going to go see a 5 or 5 plus. Let's put a 5 plus on again. And then we look at muscling. I like to look at the side profile that you guys are seeing, but most importantly, I'm going to turn him around and I'm going to look from the back side. It doesn't matter if a bull is grain-fed, grass-fed, starving, or really happy, we can tell muscling there. A lot of fat bulls look like they're muscled until you look back here. So I like the profile, the wide roundness there, but I'm really looking up in between his legs. A dairy animal goes way up high, very narrow. This bull is going, he's not going to be, you may have to ask Rob to look at him. Yeah. You know, compared to our Angus and Red Angus bulls, I'm not going to make him a 5 plus. I think we can make him a 5 though, but you know, he doesn't have the bulge on the outside. He's not as wide in between his legs as I'd like to see, but this is a different type of animal. They're not going to be that thick, that wide and bulky. Rob, what do you think?
5.
Yeah. So we'll start out. That's a really nice muscle. The thing I also like about him, he's so fat on grass that you can't hardly see his hip bones and pin bones, but you can, and there's a slope there. Now there's other bulls that look pretty level across there. That's not good. You know, he's got a slope from his hooks down to his pins. That means that pelvis is laying like that. The opening has got, you can get through the opening. A calf could, if he were his daughter's. If you tip that up, it's hard to get through that opening. I keep a couple pelvic bones around my house. If I'm giving a ranch tour, we'll come back and I'll show them what I'm talking about, because you can see as soon as you level that up, you can't get a calf through it. What else?
Overall.
Rating. Basically, and we kind of did this when we were looking. All three of these bulls are going to get a 5 or 5+ overall. I'm going to go 5+ on him. I'm not averaging the scores. I'm just saying when I walk into a pen, how do I like that bull? I really like that bull. Color of his hair. You know, there's going to be more heat tolerance there. The darker the animals are, the less heat tolerance. So that's another advantage of this bull. And the other advantage is his name is Kathmandu, and I've heard that name all week long.
What color are you gonna? Do you want to make a note for color? Since we do have differences for the catalog. I mean,
I just say light red.
Steve, make a note for Kathy.
Normally we would do what? Hair now? Hair flies. Now Steve's already done this out in the pasture. He's given them a hair coat score and a fly resistance score. What? Doug. Steve has. Doug's pretty good. He's not hogging the glory. So when I do a hair score, I like to bring him this way. We're in the shade, so I can't really tell, but I like to have the sun shining on him. He's very, very short hair. You wouldn't call that slick, would you, Weston? He couldn't get close.
I think it could be, possibly.
So he's 25% Mashona, 25% Roman, half Red Angus.
Yes, he's a quarter.
So he could be getting that slick hair gene from the Romo Solano. I'm going to give him a 5+ for hair coat. Fly resistance, and I haven't looked at these because I'm not evaluating them, but let me take a look here. We're basically counting flies. So, you know, we kind of look at the herd, and he's got flies. Actually, he's got more flies than some of these others, Doug. So I would give him a 4 today. I don't know what you gave him, but it doesn't matter. You see some flies, but you start looking at Black Angus in the same environment, and they're probably going to be covered. Feet, angle toes. So we don't have a chart, do we? So the angle of the foot is what we're talking about. A ideal angle is going to be a 5. A little soft angle is going to be a 6, where he's kind of a little bit long and a little bit softer on his pasture. If he's standing up almost too straight, that's a 4. Now I've got to where I don't mind a 4. I don't like a 6 as well. I'm gonna give this bull a. I'd probably give him a 6, but I could go 5.5. What do you think?
I think he's a 6'6".
Okay, and toes. So we're going to give him the 6 angle. He's just a little bit longer, a little bit softer, but we're going to see that a little bit in these types of cattle, more so than Angus. But you can see he's just a little long in his front feet. Now the toe, a toe that is parallel, parallel, that's a 5. If they start to curve in, that's a 6. If they start to go out, that's a 4. So I don't mind a 4-4. I don't like a 6-6, and that's what we're going to give this bull. He's a 6-6. That means that eventually he's got a little bit of curve. If you can see the curve in those toes,
You can see it.
eventually he could grow out a little bit, not wear them off, and then those toes just keep coming. And that's why we're calling that. We don't share the foot, toe, and angle or angle toe scores, but those of you that are here know we're taking them, and you can ask for it. We've got all this information that's available. We just don't throw it all out. DP, who's going to do that today?
I've not seen anything.
Okay. So DP, back in the old days, we just kind of jokingly said, well, he's got a droopy pecker. that means we see some pink hanging out there. And I haven't seen it either, but I've not been looking down there. What we're really seeing is a prepuce, and it's a prolapse. So the prepuce is a foreskin, and if he relaxes his muscle, it just kind of falls out. It's not his penis, it's a foreskin. And if he leaves it out and he starts wandering across when something grows here and it gets tall enough to touch him, you know, he may scratch that, and that pretty much puts him out of the commission for that year. And when we guarantee these bulls to go the full breeding season, you know, that's going to be one of the first things, or most common thing we settle up on, is a bull that's injured at prepuce. So we're looking for animals that are, or sire lines that are better, and we're looking for some that are worse, you know, so we identify that. In a horned animal, you will almost never see the prepuce hanging out. And when I say hanging out, that's a prolapse, prepusal prolapse. The muscle that holds it in is well developed in horned animals. When we take the horns off, it's there, but it's not as well developed, and it usually will, you're going to see it sometime. We haven't seen it on him. Weston's going to watch that because I need Weston to be kind of looking at that all the time. You know, it may be out a long ways in his end. I mean, he's just going to have to make a judgment, but at this point, we're going to call him a 5, or maybe a 5+, unless you.
I've not seen it at all.
Let's just go 5. Again, you know, I like the creases in his face. I like the vertical creases in his side. Weston, you want to talk about those a little bit?
Well, it's just supposed to be a trait of heat tolerant animals. Actually, think about all those. If you just take this piece of paper and folded it a bunch, it would take up a lot less room, just accordion style, which is kind of what you got here. So the more surface area you've got, the more heat dissipation, because the blood vessels. You also got more hairs. I don't know if you got more, you know, and that are producing that follicles, or producing oils and whatnot that cause fly resistance. I mean, it's all those things go together, and then that thicker, looser hide is supposed to be good also for tenderness, I think, of meat. I mean, I don't know whether that's true or not.
I don't think we need to get into.
Well, you asked me what about the folds, and I'm telling you all these
some
things
of
are
these
science.
theories, and some of them we believe.
I'm just telling you that's what I know about it. There you go. Don't ask my opinion if you don't want to hear.
Any questions? Anytime if I went over something too fast, then you guys can say, wait a minute, what? Tell me about the feet again. Tell me about the whatever. But we're going to start going fairly quick because the sun's going to start beating down on my black hat, and I'm going to get hot. That's a good bull. I think both of these bulls are almost as good. I had one of these picked out before him until I put them together. So the last thing we do is disposition, and I may change places with Rob, but as Rob, go ahead, Steve. Whenever we get close to a disposition, you can open the gate. We've already checked his disposition. I mean, he has beautiful disposition. I don't want to touch him, but I don't want him jumping the fence or running past it. So I'm going to give him a 5+. I like to see him go past Rob. If one bull comes up there and just kind of stands here and looks at Rob, his disposition is going to go down, even though Rob could reach out there and scratch his head and get away with it. But if he doesn't respect Rob enough, someday he's going to hurt somebody.
I changed him to 5 on the feet after coming half.
On both?
Not both, but it's that.
Okay. So we just changed the angle on his feet. We used to not go halves. We'd go 5 angle, 6 angle, 4 angle. We started, some of these bulls are like that when he's not good enough for a 5, he's not bad enough for a 6. So we called him a 5+. Number.
8, 7708. Again, same composition. No, wait a minute. This bull is not the same composition. This bull is only 1/8 Mashona and 1/4 Romo. So he's not exactly the same composition.
Notice the hair coat. You know, this bull's got good hair coat, but not near as good as that.
He's only 3/8 heat tolerant, where the other was half.
And I think we're seeing that. masculinity, he's probably, in the bulls I've looked at, he's probably the third best for masculinity. I'm still going to give him a 5.
Thickness.
Rob and I are going to speed up a little bit. He's deep, he's got lots of guts. He's probably thicker than the other one, so we'll go 5 foot.
Awesome.
He has more muscle.
Can you plus him?
Let's go 5 plus. 5 plus. No, 5.
Hair flies.
We don't do that.
You're not gonna do it?
Doug's done the hair fly.
Yes.
I mean, if you guys want to ask about, okay, what's his hair coat? This bull doesn't have as good a hair coat as that one. He's still a high 4 plus or something in that area. But he's not as good as that last one.
So what are you gonna do about the toes and strokes like that?
I'm not going to worry too much. That one I'm not worried about.
Angle toes?
Rob, you kind of, you take charge of the feet. I'll help you. 5.5 again.
Probably 5.5 and probably a straight 5.
So we're going to go 5.5 on the angle and straight 5. He's got great toes.
TP?
Alright, we're gonna have to go probably a 3.5 or
3 plus.
3 plus, yeah.
You've seen it.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay.
So I would call the other one that having sure enough a slick haired gene probably.
Okay,
This
so-
one just a short hair. I mean, he's not the slicks gene, I don't think. So you kind of look at that tail.
5 again.
Good hair. It's not